everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews, back to talk more comics. And today, well, you've clicked on it, you've seen the claws, you see the shirt, you see the comics in the background. We're talking about Wolverine number 5 today. Another great work by Ben Percy and Victor Bogdonavich. Let me get my claws off here. As we continue to talk about the books and not the drama surrounding the books. And so, Wolverine number 5, where we left off, Wolverine wanted to take a little trip up north to go have a drink and forget his troubles, stop thinking about the world of Krakoa and how pretty much Wolverine kind of feels like it's all a bunch of crap. And he's just waiting for the other shoe to drop. In the first arc of the book, we got to see him, get Magneto's helmet and try to help, try to toe the company line in his own way. And in this second arc of the book, we're dealing with what was set up in issue 1 with the vampires and Dracula. And this is, it's not perfect. All right, what is? Because it does feel like these stories are going to be kind of wrapped up quick. And in this case, it looks like the story's going to kind of hit pause and move on to X of Swords. Or maybe somehow X of Swords will be a part of the vampire story. I don't know. I kind of doubt it. And that's the only thing I think I didn't really like about it, is that if that's the case, if we're going to jump off this story to move to X of Swords, it kind of feels like, well then, I don't know, why don't you just throw in a couple of one-shot stories and then do this afterwards? We're going to come back to this later. I mean, I'm sure Ben Percy knows how to write that story where it's like, and they do have a nice, interesting ending where, Logan's being pulled to something. But as far as I know, and what I was reading on the internet, although, reading something on the internet, it doesn't mean it's, it's going to be accurate. But somebody said it had to do with Fortnite. I don't play Fortnite. I don't play well with others. That's why I work. That's why I like characters like Wolverine who do things on their own. If that's what's true. But the rest of the book is pretty cool, and the art's great. It's Wolverine, going after vampires that should have killed him. But that's one of the things about it also that's in this book is the whole resurrection protocols that keep coming up. And kind of like what Wolverine thinks about what mutants are going to do with those mutant protocols. That's something we didn't really, I don't know if we've really talked about too much. We've talked about what are the stakes, with, if you can just keep coming back, what does it matter? But what they talk about in here is basically what you do with that immortality. That's kind of more important in my opinion. And so we have this great just single shot page here where he's in the ice. They stuck him in the ice. Omega Red left him there, and Omega Red bounced. He is not anywhere in here. Logan is eventually, going to try to track him down. And what'll be interesting with that meeting is, will he still be under the thrall of the vampires, or will he have been released and then having to explain, look, I was on the road to redemption. Logan, I did not mean to do this. I was actually trying to be good, and then they got to me. I don't know. But Dracula, takes his blood, puts it in this kind of Tony Stark thing on his chest, right, where they can become daywalkers. So that's great. Vampires, regular vampires walking around, Dracula walking around during the daytime. Not good. But the art in this is really good, and it reminds me of Greg Capullo's art a lot. And again, I guess if we're gonna have another issue here, not again, it's 2 pages devoted to the white pages here. This one just talking about Wolverine's blood group, if you want to really get in depth with it. I think that they're basically talking about maybe foreshadowing what his blood could mean for vampires. The second page is just, again, our typical, hey, here's who's in the book, and Krakoa, and then right after, then two more guys, That's 4 pages right out the gate. Right out the gate. And we're not over. That's not done. So I guess I got two things to complain about. But like I said, I really still like what is in here as far as the book goes. You know, I just think that there could have been more. Is all. And so these vampires are basically, they're left behind by Dracula to just keep doing what they're doing. And they're killing. They're basically killing people in small towns, turning them, and then setting them loose on other small towns, so that they can keep growing this army that Wolverine heard about in the first issue where he was in France. That's where they were talking about the 6 million bodies in the catacombs last issue. That's French history, like that's like see that movie As Above, So Below. That deals with like that kind of thing. Well, these teenage vampires come, and at first I thought they were just like, oh look, like okay, first off, why they asked this question? Why is he unguarded? I don't know, but they take him out of there, and presumably to like, oh, like I guess have their own Wolverine blood keg, but he gets loose, of course, and jumps out again. Art's great here. I just love this, and that you see the vampires like all these people that they've killed and turned. They set them loose in Canada, and Wolverine attacks the kids because the vampire kids, because yes, of course, why wouldn't he? And they say, well, we're vampires, but we're not like them. We didn't listen in life. We're not listening in death. We're rebels, man. And so they've been feeding off of animals, hanging them from the trees and stuff. And so they basically tell them where, they break it down to what places are still around, because they've been going from town to town, finding all these places empty. There's only one place left. And again, here we go. We're not done yet. More white pages. And it, as much as the complaining that has been since, like we've said, and House of X and Powers of 10, we didn't mind it. We thought it was interesting. But when it carried over into every single book, and we've all been basically, pretty soon, we'll have reached the anniversary of the end of House of X and Powers of 10. Pretty quick here, that we've been dealing with this for a year in every single book. And as much as people have been complaining, it has not stopped. So I don't think that if they didn't get the message in a year, they're not going to hear us now. But Wolverine tracks them down. They're about to attack this next place, and he comes rolling up with snowmobiles and giant stakes on him, and that's just great. I mean, there's so much of these books, this new series by Percy. I want so many frames can be turned into posters or T-shirts. I just love it. And so they start in, and this is where he starts talking about the resurrection protocols. And it starts with him saying, somebody on a bar stool once told me their drunken theory about getting rich. You come suddenly into cash and it changes you by cranking up the volume on everything you used to be. You used to be good, and now you're even better. Donating to charity, building hospitals, creating scholarships, whatever. But if you used to be bad, you're made worse. And we get to see him like this whole inner monologue as he's jumping off of snowmobiles and attacking. And he says, Krakoa has developed a power of resurrection. The gift of all those years is like a big steaming pile of money. I don't doubt some mutants are going to put that good time to use. They'll do more and do it better than they could have otherwise. But other mutants are going to go the way of the vampire. The taste of more can lead to a bottomless thirst. You feel invincible. No life matters but your own. I've known the polluted darkness of the vampire, and if it comes for Krakoa, it could tear us apart. And so he's the inner monologue, and then in the little words here is just as interesting as him hurling himself around attacking these vampires. This guy gets his head cut off with a buzzsaw blade right there. He jumps on her, right? Just cool. Just cool, cool, cool. Bogdanovich's art is great. I don't mind, like, and I hope if, he wouldn't see this probably, but just because it looks like Capullo's doesn't mean it's Capullo's. It reminds me of it. And he's like, in the last page, why'd you leave me behind? Why not keep me around as your own personal blood bank? We knew the ice would eventually melt. You'd wander home, not knowing any better what happened or what we wanted from you. And what did you want? The freedom to work by night and day. You gave us time through the Bloodclocks. If we kept you, the rest of your kind would come for us. We aren't ready for them yet. Yeah, well, time's up. For you and Omega Red. And he just kind of squishes her face. And he walks away. And leaves like the one vampire kid who's still there alive. And it says, next, X of Swords. So you go like, okay. So they're pressing pause then. But as Percy said on Twitter, that this is kind of a collector's edition because this last page is not going to be seen in any trades. My only problem was I was like, oh, cool. I was excited. All right. Because here he is walking in the woods. And suddenly the Rainbow Bridge comes. And he's like, oh, come on. Not now. I got things to do. And it's like, you hear like Thor's voice or somebody's voice. Maybe it's Sif's who controls the Rainbow Bridge. Your concerns matter little. You are needed elsewhere. And he gets taken. He disappears. Ends up at the Rainbow Bridge. Takes a look over his shoulder and says, fuck. Or shit. It doesn't matter. Now, I thought, okay, cool. We're going to get a Thor, we're going to get a Wolverine and Asgard story. But I saw that Fortnite Marvel commercial. And it was them bringing all these heroes in. And I believe it was written by Donny Cates. Somebody said. I think Donny Cates might have said that on Twitter. And so I think that that's just meant to represent that they're pulling Wolverine from the comic to play in Fortnite. That may be something that's not seen in the trades, but if that's what it's for, I didn't really need to see it either. But if it is setting up Wolverine and Asgard, which I would hope it would be, but I don't think it is, that would be awesome. But otherwise, it is a good book, and like I said, if they're pressing pause, fine. If they're gonna let the vampire army build it while Wolverine goes and fights X of Swords, fine. In the white pages, there's nothing we can do about it. There's nothing we can do about it. You can sit like I'll probably stop mentioning it unless something is interesting on those white pages. But otherwise, another great outing by Ben Percy, who continues to be the best there is at what he does. Right, Wolverine. If you like this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications. Otherwise, we'll be back with more comic reviews. We got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Lovecraft Country and all sorts of stuff. You never know what's going to come out of my mouth anymore. So have a great day, and we will see you next time. Keep reading comics. Bye. If I know how to turn this thing off.